Welcome. All right, today we're going to talk a little bit about angles as we move into trigonometry. So let's get our notes out and get going. At any point in the video, if you fall behind or don't understand something, stop the video, get caught back up, or rewatch that part of the video because sometimes it takes a couple times through to understand what's being said. All right, our learning objective for the day is students will understand the basic terminology of an angle. All right, today we're going to talk about these three questions. So hopefully we've gone through our textbook, which is chapter 5.1, and we looked at answering these questions. The first question is, what is a ray, an angle, and the vertex of an angle, and how is an angle created? The second question is, what is the initial side and the terminal side of an angle, and what is an angle in standard position? Lastly, the third question, what is the measure of an angle and what's the difference between a positive and a negative angle? All right, we're going to talk about all three of these questions. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to lead off with some pictures. All right, so when we talk about an angle in standard position, we are talking about an angle that is on the coordinate plane. So I'm going to go ahead and draw a coordinate plane. I'm just going to rough one out here. So, here's my this is my y-axis. This is my x-axis. And for an angle to be in standard position, what it means is the point we call the vertex is at the origin, and the point we call the initial side coincides with the x-axis. It means it's right on top. Now the terminal side, where the angle ends, or the other side of the angle, can go either direction. I'm just going to go ahead and throw mine right here. This is an angle in standard position. Again, the side we call the initial side, so I'm going to write initial. Coincides with the x-axis. So let me make sure, it kind of looks like a y, so we'll make it an x. There we go. Now the word initial means starting. It's the initial point, our starting point. So this is where the angle starts. Now to form an angle, we start on the initial side and we turn, and this is a ray, by the way. We turn a ray in a particular direction. That's what's going on here. You can see I drew the line. You can see it turning. And where it stops, the other side is called our terminal side. Terminal meaning it ends. Terminal means ending. So this is our terminal side. So each angle has an initial side and a terminal side. Now the point where the two rays call together, that's called the vertex. Okay, so the vertex is where the two rays come together, and for it to be in standard position, so I'm going to go ahead and write standard position. The vertex has to be at the origin, and again, the initial side coincides or is on top of the x-axis. Okay, so let's talk about directions of an angle. Okay, so I'm going to go over here. I'm going to make a new drawing. So I'm just going to section off my notes right here. So again, I'm going to draw a coordinate plane. So there's the x and y axis. I'm going to put my angle in standard position. So that's a vertex at the center with the initial side on the x-axis. And we talk about the directions of an angle because I can turn two directions. I can turn counterclockwise, and that's turning up like this. We call that the positive direction. This is the positive direction of an angle. And if I should turn down, so I'm going to go ahead and use a different color. And this is this is clockwise. This is called the negative direction. The negative direction of the angle. So positive is counterclockwise. That means kind of heading up and to the left. Negative is clockwise, and that's kind of heading down and, well, down and to the left as well. Okay, let's look at an example of what that looks like. So I'm just going to go ahead and add a new sheet in here. There we go. Back up one. So if I wanted to put an angle in standard position. Actually, let's just kind of go to our examples. I apologize. Kind of resize that for us a little bit so we can see what we're doing. I want to draw a 30-degree angle in standard position. Okay. So again, the first thing I notice is it's in standard position. So I'm going to draw my coordinate plane. I'm going to put my vertex at the origin and draw my initial side right there on the x-axis. The second thing I'm going to look at is this is a 30-degree, and I notice that it is positive. So I'm going to have positive in the positive direction. That's up to about 30 degrees. Now we know there are 360 degrees in the entire circle, and I know a perpendicular line has a 90-degree angle. So 30 degrees is in this quadrant 1. So this is quadrant 1. This would be quadrant 2. This would be quadrant 3. This would be quadrant 4. So it's a quadrant 1 angle. It's less than halfway because halfway would be 45. So it's going to be approximately in here. This is a positive 30-degree angle. All right, moving on. Kind of move this out of the way. All right, example number 2 wants me to draw a negative 45-degree angle in standard position. So I'm going to repeat the process. I'm going to draw my coordinate plane. Here's my XY. I'm going to put my angle in standard position. That means vertex at the origin and initial side coinciding with the x-axis. So standard position. I also notice that my direction is now negative. So I'm going to go in the negative direction 45 degrees. Well, negative is down instead of up. And 45 degrees is about halfway. So that's going to be approximately in here. So this is a, pen quit writing, let me try that again. This is a negative 45-degree angle. It heads down. So we have an example of a positive angle, 30 degrees, and an example of our negative angle, which is negative 45. All right, if you have any questions on any of the vocabulary, where it's be how we form the angles, or just any of our terminology, please write those down and ask me during class. Thank you and have a great day.